This episode is brought to you by Lash Boss Retreats. Imagine going on a retreat where you're with other lash artists, eating amazing food, going on sightseeing tours, and learning more about your lash business through lash artistry workshops and business workshops, and obviously connecting with people who are in the same place as you. We're going to cities like Dubrovnik, Croatia, Zurich, Switzerland, Paris, France, the south of France, the Amalfi Coast in Italy. I am so excited to visit these places with a team of lash artists who are excited to grow and push themselves and just see the world. 2024, we went to London, Paris, Rome, and Santorini. And in 2025, we're going back to Paris, but also including some other cities as well. So these retreats are 4 days long. Everything is included inside of the retreat except for your flight, but we do arrange airport transfers. So you really just have to buy your flight, and from there, we'll pick you up from the airport and take you along the way through the itinerary, which is already decided for you. You don't have to think of anything. We even give you a packing list and just some tips for international travel. Tours, meals, and accommodations are all included in the price, and you can check out all of this and more at lashbossretreats.com. Hey everyone, welcome back to Lash Boss Radio. I'm Shelby, your host, and today I'm joined by Teaira. You may know her as T the Brand on Instagram. I'm so excited she drove here all the way from Dallas, and we're going to talk all about marketing and some fun lash events coming up and more. Welcome to the show, Teaira.
Thanks for having me.
Yeah, of course. I'm so excited to finally sit down with you. I think a good place to start would just be your journey and the industry so far. So how long have you been doing lashes now?
So I've been doing lashes almost 4 years. August will make 4 years.
Oh my gosh. Yes. A lot of growth has happened.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
Most definitely.
So the biggest thing that you're passionate about in the lash industry is that marketing to lash clients. You talk about that a lot.
Yes.
But talk to me about why that's so important to you, or why you feel like that's such a good message to share.
So I felt like this was a super important piece that we needed as lash artists, especially in those beginner stages. You take your lash training, you go to lash school, and then once you have your license, you're ready for all of the clients to book with you. And it's a really harsh reality when nobody's booking, or, you only have a few people to practice on. And so from my own experience, I learned okay, just because I have a license or have a photo shoot, which seemed to be the popular thing to do maybe a few years ago, that wasn't getting me clients. So once I consumed a lot of content on Instagram, hired a mentor to kind of educate me about marketing, I realized that a lot of people were sharing information about what to do, but not really sharing practical steps on how to apply the information. And so I felt like that was a little gap in the industry. And I'm like, well, let me get in here and see what I can do. Like, the information is great, but if you don't know how to use it, all you have is great information. So that's where my heart for marketing education came in for our lash industry.
Yeah, it's awesome, especially right now. It's so needed because things are changing. The economy is scaring some people.
Absolutely.
And, so what would you say if somebody is feeling a little weary right now? Mm-hmm. What are some steps that they can take just to kind of help?
Okay, so 2 things. The first thing is really defining your target audience and getting to know this person. I think that alleviates a lot of the challenges that we face when it comes to creating content and then marketing the content as well. Even on foot marketing, like if lash artists go out and want to hand out their cards, making sure that you're doing it in a space where you can find the audience that you're looking for. So instead of the bread aisle in a grocery store, put your cards near the beauty section, or go, make organic connections in the beauty section. But really knowing who it is that you want to service, that way you can create your brand identity around this person, create content that attracts this person, and then market it in a way that makes them feel like, wow, I need my lashes done by Shelby because nobody else is like her. So I think that's a big key.
Can you give me an example of an ideal client and how you would speak to them in your content?
Yeah, sure. So first, just kind of considering their age range. So this is important because how do they talk? Do they communicate by saying girl, or do they say sis, or do they like lash babe as like a term of connection? So just really considering how old they are, considering things that may be attractive to them in their age range. So for example, the colors that you use for your brand identity. So just making sure that all of the visuals, the face of your brand matches to this person. And then also what's important to them. So I like to give the example of knowing what your clients do in their free time. That way on a Saturday, if you're not sure what kind of content to post, okay, my clients like to go to brunch. They like to get dressed up and feel really cute and girly and go have a mimosa. So on a Saturday, that's something that I can create a reel or a post about how, you didn't have to do a lot to look nice. You didn't have to worry about, I always go in on the lash strips. I hate that so bad. But you didn't have to worry about, your lash strips lifting, or, you didn't have to put on a full face of makeup to look really nice and brunch appropriate. So I think that plays a big part in knowing who it is that you're talking to, so that you know what they're doing and you can create your content around them.
You also mentioned earlier about photo shoots.
Mhm.
And so do you still recommend those, or does somebody have to do a photo shoot to get clients?
I don't think you necessarily have to do a photo shoot to get clients. I think that if you do a photo shoot, it all goes back to a target audience. You really need to know who it is you're serving, so that the photo shoot is branded in a way or presented in a way that could attract that person. Because let's just say you do a photo shoot and you're marketing like super mega volume lashes. Well, now that nice clean girl aesthetic is in, and ladies are liking more natural looking lash sets. So knowing who it is that you're trying to get into service, and I think that the photo shoots are great for marketing and just creating some cohesiveness on your page and showing a little bit about you outside of you being on the lash table. But I don't think you have to have a photo shoot to grow your clientele.
Mm-hmm. One thing that I think sometimes happens is a lot of times the models that are chosen for photo shoots sometimes are just very young.
Mhm.
And what if your clientele is mostly like older
Yes.
women? Do you recommend like kind of matching that as well, like age range
Most
too?
definitely. Because again, what you put out, that's what you're going to attract, or who you're going to attract. So that was a concern of mine, or a consideration of mine when I did my very first photo shoot. I had a mixture of age range. I had like a 18, 19-year-old, early 20s, someone in their 30s, and then I had my mom in there. And so it was from those different, age brackets or whatever, just to represent kind of everybody. What I would do now if I were to have a photo shoot is market to, or have models who reflect the age range that I'm trying to attract. That way it's not confusing, it's clear, and everything just stays in alignment.
Absolutely. Yeah. And I think also older women tend to like more of like the timeless look, like not necessarily the
Yes.
trendy stuff
Yes.
too, which could be probably comforting to an artist that's like trying to always keep up with the latest
Yeah.
thing, So you can have a really good clientele just doing like really steady natural sets, honestly.
And I think that's something that as a beginner lash artist, you want everybody. So you feel like you have to master every style. I mean, it's great to know how to do it all, but it's okay to kind of specialize in a service. That way you grow in that area, and I think that's a great idea. It's something that I've done, and it's helped me a lot.
As far as like marketing goes, would you say that an artist should focus more of their efforts on social media marketing, or more of like in person, or a mix of both, I'm sure, but
I think having a good balance is the way to go, because depending on who your audience is, they may not be on social media. Word of mouth is still an efficient way to market. On-foot marketing is still an efficient way to market. So I would say definitely having some balance. Some advice with on-foot marketing is to not be like the people in Macy's in the perfume section where it's like pushing the perfume cards at you for you to smell. Create organic conversation with women, and that's why I say it's important to know who it is you're marketing, so you know where to go to share your business cards or start those conversations. And also looking like you're in the beauty industry when you go do it. If it's a
good point,
hair in a ponytail and sweatpants kind of day and you don't have your lashes done, maybe today isn't the day to market.
How much time do you think somebody should spend on marketing? Let's say somebody is looking to get clients and they're not super booked right now. Should they be focusing on that purely?
I agree. I agree, but yes, I think they should, because that's the way that you're going to get people in. So I think that if you don't have a lot of clients, that mannequin becomes your friend. Really kind of showing your personality or talking on social media can help. One of the game changers for me with marketing took me from 5 clients to about 25 clients in 3 months was educational marketing. And a lot of times we see lash artists doing educational marketing, but it's for other lash artists. And I think that's easy to do because we see other lash artists doing it, but you have to know who your audience is. So taking the content that you're creating to educate lash artists about how to isolate and explain it in a way that a client can understand it. Like they'll see us say, you know, isolation is so important, but if we don't explain what exactly isolation is and why we do it, then the client doesn't know. And so by me recording the process that I was already doing, I was able to really grow my clientele by making sure that I just talked to my potential clients about all things lash extensions.
And were you intentional about speaking to the client and not like other artists type of thing?
I was very intentional about that because I didn't want an influx of, and I learned this from experience, where I wasn't getting clients. So I started marketing to lash artists, and I got a lot of lash artist followers and community on my Instagram page, but I wasn't getting clients still. So once I flipped who I was talking to, just took the same content and packaged it in a way for clientele, that's when the clientele started to grow. People started commenting, and it kind of set me apart from other lash artists in my area because it's like nobody is sharing this information. Clients' eyes are closed during the service, so they don't know it. And that was a game changer.
And also, sometimes they just don't know what we're talking about.
Right.
And so someone who's talking to them and saying like, look, let me show you what I mean, that must really connect with them.
Absolutely. It was great. So I strongly recommend.
So back to social media. Let's say somebody is like they're comfortable, they have clients, but they're starting to feel like, okay, now I don't have time for social media anymore.
Okay.
What do you recommend for that person? Should they block a certain hour of their week or something, or what do you think?
So I would definitely encourage them to block time off and batch create the content. That's one thing that I have found to be really helpful. Knowing what it is that I'm going to post for the week, and making sure that I have, clips or videos to actually create that piece of content, but dedicating time to do it. And I think one day out of a week to focus on content isn't bad, or maybe a couple of evenings if you can't block off a whole day, just to get everything planned, edited, and just scheduled to go out. I don't think they should totally abandon social media, but I also think it's okay to slow down just a little bit if your demand is where you want it to be for your services.
What about if they are nervous to show their face? Like, do they have to show their face? Is that recommended? Like, what do you think about that?
I think that it's very important to show your face because I gave this example not too long ago. Clients don't know if they're booking with you or Bob the builder. They can't see you, and you're trying to build a connection, a trusting relationship through the internet. So if I never know what you look like and I only know what your lash sets look like, if I don't know what you sound like, I don't know exactly who it is that I'm coming to, and that can be a little scary and just not comforting for connection. So I would say that if someone was afraid to show up on social media, you can always start with voiceovers. That's a great way to kind of introduce your tone to the brand and to your potential clients. And then use some of the features that are on Instagram, like the live practice. So now you can practice going live on Instagram where it won't show it to an actual audience. It's just you and the camera, and you get to get intimate with the camera and, get used to how your voice sounds, and just kind of, pick the practice run apart, or just do it on your regular camera. with the intent to delete the video.
I didn't know that was a thing.
That is a thing,
Is it
Shelby.
new?
No.
Oh my gosh.
Yep. When you get ready to go live, it gives you the option to practice or to broadcast it to an audience.
Oh my gosh. Okay. Wow. I don't know. Okay, so you've got a lot going on. You are a brand ambassador for the Lash Supply.
Yes.
And they have so many locations.
They do. It is crazy. They're just popping up everywhere, and I love it.
I think they started in Houston.
Mm-hmm.
They just opened an Austin location,
Yes.
right? And Dallas
Dallas
too?
has like 3 locations.
Wow.
There's a Garland, an Arlington, and a Fort Worth location. The Fort Worth location is pretty new as well.
Which area of Dallas are you in?
I'm closer to Garland.
Okay.
Yeah.
Got it. So what made you want to like work with that brand or collaborate with them?
So when I first started lashing, I didn't know anything about the lash world. So I knew nothing about PLA and, the big lash brand. So I was at nail supply stores buying my lash extensions. And, if there was someone local, I would try their lashes out. And then maybe a month after I started lashing and had, experimenting with some lashes, I saw an ad on Facebook for this new store that was opening. So I went to the store, fell in love with the products, and I started I used their products from 2020 to about 2022. And one day I went in the store in 2022. They had this flyer that they were looking for brand ambassadors. I did not meet the follower criteria to be a brand ambassador, but I'm like, I have a YouTube channel that's growing and this and this. And so they were open to allow me to be a brand ambassador. I was already creating content for free. So that's just kind of how it went. And so at first it was I got a discount code for my followers if anybody wanted to buy from supplies from the Lash Supply. So I kept making the content. And then earlier this year at IBS here back in Dallas, we had a conversation and just kind of got things going to where they wanted me to be the official brand ambassador for the company. So now I get to do all of the fun lives at the different stores and giveaways and just it's great. I just love it.
Wow.
Yeah, but their company built on integrity and just they're super kind, customer satisfaction and the experience that you get with the products in the store is super important to them. And I really appreciated that just for them and their branding. And so, yeah, I was happy to partner and represent the Lash Supply.
Yeah, they're really sweet. I just
Yes.
met them like a couple months ago, I would say, and I think they're the best.
Yeah, I saw y'all's content together. I was like, oh, that's exciting.
Yeah. So I actually heard something in that story about, so like if you were to just have read the flyer and just been like, oh, guess that doesn't apply to me and just like kept moving,
Yep.
that story would have been different.
Absolutely.
So did you go up to them and you were like, hey, this is me though, and I also have this to offer? Is that how it happened?
I sent them a DM. So in the store, there are people who work in the store, but then the company, I didn't know how to get in touch with anybody. And then the ladies at the store, they didn't have like clear information or direction on what to do. So I'm like, okay, let me just DM the page and see what happens. And so that's what I did. And they responded. They were excited. And I was like, okay, well, here we go. So that turned into a visit in Houston. That's when I first got to meet JoJo, the owner of the company. I went and did a podcast with them. And that's when the connection started outside of just being a brand ambassador for the business.
That's
So
so cool.
I reached out to them.
That is awesome and a good message too. So you're also speaking next month, I think,
Yes.
at the Elite Lash Convention.
Yes.
And then you're speaking in October at LashCon,
Yes.
which is huge. And
That
then
is huge.
you'll be speaking in April at Lash Boss Summit. So how are you feeling about all of these engagements coming up?
Honestly, it's like a switch has flipped, and it's exciting. I'm like, this is what we work hard to be able to do when we're passionate about something. And I feel like so many lash artists can benefit from just learning about the basics of marketing and branding. And so I'm really excited that I've been able to find positions or opportunities to be able to share that and help as many lash artists who will listen to it and apply the information. So I'm super excited. I'm nervous I'm nervous, but
Everyone's nervous.
Are you really?
Yep.
You guys still get nervous?
Yeah.
Wow.
Absolutely. I get nervous to do the podcast. I'm nervous anytime I have to speak in front of people. It's nerve-wracking.
Yeah, for sure.
But in my head, I tell myself excited and nervous feel the same.
Yes.
And that sometimes helps me. But knowing that also everyone else is nervous is also pretty comforting. So
that's definitely comforting.
Yeah. You're going to do great. What's next on your horizon? Like where do you see yourself going in the industry?
So beyond the lash table, I am looking to be more intimate with lash artists with my marketing tools. So maybe workshops. I'm not ready for a conference. Hats off to you, Shelby, because I cannot imagine doing what you do. But maybe some more workshops. I really want to lean into just really making the target audience conversation bigger so that it'll help more lash artists. So we're trying to find some avenues for that. YouTube, of course, and just beefing up the marketing or increasing the marketing for the message that I really want to share. Mm-hmm. So right now, that's where we're kind of sailing at.
Awesome. I also want to ask you, I feel like I might know what it is already because I saw like one of your story times,
okay.
But I always ask my guests what their favorite failure was. So it's like a time when you felt like you failed, but it was actually like something that propelled you or a blessing in disguise, if you will. Do you have anything like that in the lash industry that you feel like was your favorite failure?
Ooh, I'm going to say my favorite failure was getting into the lash industry. My background was in social work. I loved what I was doing. I'm a licensed master social worker. I did a lot of college for my social work degrees. And once COVID hit, the school that I was working at, I was basically like a middle school therapist. They cut the position. I couldn't find another job worth working. And then I say it was random, but hindsight, it was a total God move. I had the random thought to take a lash training. I knew nothing about lashes. I had only had them done twice. I didn't follow any lash artists or anything like that. And the next day after I said I wanted to take a training, a class popped up on my timeline. And I was like, you know what? We're going to give this a try. And I really felt like I had failed as a social worker, failed at all of the work that I put into my career prior to. But lashing has been the biggest reward. I'm trying not to get emotional now. Lashing has been a very rewarding career. The ladies I've gotten to service and meet simply because they wanted to feel better or had a special occasion, and I was able to help add some joy and some spark to them for that. I could not have imagined that this lash career would become what it is. So I think my favorite failure was becoming a lash artist.
No, that's awesome. I love that story. You shared that. Yeah. Do you feel like though your work in social work has helped you in any way?
Most definitely. I think we've all experienced the dual role of being kind of part therapist and lash artist. And so being able to just offer some practicality, being able to empathize, because a lot of times that's just what our clients want, for us to listen and for them to feel validated no matter how they feel or what the situation. So I think social work has definitely played a part in me being a great service provider.
Yeah, I could see that. I majored in sociology, which is different.
Yes.
But, I felt the same.
Yeah.
I was like, well, I mean, I have a degree, but I still feel like I use it a little, but not really.
I agree.
You know? So that therapy role, like we could all relate to that, right? It just happens. Like for some reason when people are closing their eyes and laying down, it just all starts coming out. How do you like balance that with wanting to be professional with them as well, and uphold your policies and stuff like that? How do you balance that?
I really kind of go off of what the client is giving me. So if you can tell if someone wants your feedback, if they're being receptive to your feedback, or if they just want to get it out and, so that they can relax for the rest of their appointment. So I really kind of just go on the feel of the appointment time. But I also, of course, try to keep not saying that we can't have a personal connection, but I try to make sure that there is a boundary so that I don't internalize whatever they might be going through. Sometimes it's, just small, light stuff, and sometimes they bear really heavy things with us. And so just kind of remembering, like, I am here to help her feel better. I don't have to take this on. Her anxiety isn't my anxiety, or just reminding myself that it's not my problem to solve, but I'm just here to be an ear in a safe space for you if that's what you need. So that's kind of how I go about that.
Yeah, it's an interesting line to always be dancing for sure. I think too, like, even if you just open up the appointment with more about their lashes first,
for sure,
like the professional first, like that sometimes helps too. Would you say? Yeah, like, how are your lashes? Do you want anything different? Okay, then.
Yes.
What's new?
That's usually how appointments go. Do a little mini consultation with, returning clients. And they're able to then move into whatever they want to discuss. And then they have a great nap.
Exactly. So if an artist wants to connect with you, where can they find you after this episode?
They can find me at I am T the brand, and that's T with 2 E's, on Instagram, TikTok, and YouTube.
Perfect. Thank you so much for coming on today.
Thank you for having me.
Of course.